This country has went through many insecurities politically, socially, and racially. When the establishment felt that there was any degeneration in these areas, things were done to correct it or suppress it back. But not to get into detail, a good reference of these days and times in the 19th century were in writings by scientists Johann Blumenbach and Robert Knox. Research them. In these days of time, it's harder to reach these changes due to strong freedoms of speech, religion, and somewhat of assembly. So it's a harder ballgame to keep everybody in the same dugout when it comes to the sphere of influence, usually by a society of white Americans. Their sphere has weakened, so now they rely on more technologically advanced ways to do it. When it comes to the racial aspect of our condition and status quo, I can assure you that they are breaking grounds when it comes to biracial relationships. All they have to do is shoot their energy stimulating a rush of dopamine to enter a person's body that can create love. Love is controlled by the neurotransmitter dopamine. And it's not that hard to have someone look at another person, find them attractive, regardless of what race or background they're from, and have them fall in love. Humans are humans. But obviously, it's going to happen at a much higher pace when there's a lot of psychological manipulation going on through the mind control program, and that's what I'm here to address you about today. Okay, so there are many ways of causing this to happen. Sometimes it's just subliminal messages coming from the radio, from movies and commercials, kind of promoting biracial relationships and marriage and biracial children. This is a good thing because right now the mind control program is on a program of multitude of programs. And the program that I'm here to talk to you about is the degeneration of the minority program. And why is this all happening all of a sudden? Why are so many white men walking around with beautiful, exotic women in their arms? What's the deal? They weren't all that, 15, 20 years ago, So what's the big deal? Is it because all the minority men are all being deported and most African-American men being suppressed? Yeah, I almost can assume that's probably why. Because that's the only thing that I can really rule it down to. Because obviously we know that the mind control program can psychologically manipulate neurotransmitters in a human being, their way of thought. They can trigger fear into you, anxiety. It all deals with your neurotransmitters. And love is totally, how can I say, correlate or synonymous. It's a synonymous. It deals with love, falling in love, being in love. And when it's tampered with by technology, a person can fall in love. And so there are many people who are vulnerable to it. And I'm going to explain to you who those people are. And they're going to be African-American women, Hispanic women, Asian women. Usually the more fair, the better, because see, they want to make happy children. They want to generate their sphere of influence. This white society is insecure, and most of them are coming from, obviously, the government watchdogs, because they're their luggage boys. They're their manhandlers. They're the ones who are in control of the most technologically state-of-the-art advanced technology. So they're the ones who are involved with all of that. And these are the many ways of making interracial dating, interracial children. Let me give you an example. If there's a fair complected African-American woman having a biracial child with a white, that child is going to have 0.25% of African-American bloodline in him, which is going to basically make them feel more secure than if that child were to become 75% African-American. If that fair complected African-American woman would have married, how can I say, a much more darker member of her race, okay? And I can go on and on with examples. That also includes Hindi Americans, Asian Americans, Arab American women, all women of minority classes. It's just not just African American women. And this is what their program is doing right now. And it's basically a degeneration program, a minority degeneration program that's happening right in front of our eyes. Okay? We can't detect it, obviously, but you can see it happening. And you understand what I know, and I know what the body can do. I know all the biomechanics of the body. And I'm telling you, it's not that hard to make someone fall in love with someone. It's dopamine. A rush of dopamine enters your bloodstream and you're in love. It's simple as that. It happens naturally in society, but these are unnatural, how can I say, cases. Because I mean, come on. When you go out in society, there are some white men that are really not able to have or hold on to those kind of women if this technology isn't being used for them. And they're not being tortured, by the way. They're being enhanced. Their dopamine is being released into their bloodstreams, and so is their relationship with the women that they're with. And what happens is they're going to become madly in love and make children, biracial children. Where the relationship goes after that, who knows? But the main objective have been accomplished, which is to degenerate the minority class and to cause more sphere of influence from the white society. They're trying to degenerate all the minority people. And I'm here to warn you, to cause you to understand all this that's taking place in these days and times. It has a lot to do with biomechanics, technology, and the mind control program. Okay, there are many ways they can send subliminal messages to, how can I say, curve this way of thought, to accept that, to make it just another day in America. When you see beautiful, exotic women with basic looking white men that, you know, aren't that appealing to, I mean, I've asked many minority women and they're not that appealing, but there's many, how can I say, there are many good reasons why they're with them. And one of the reasons is because they're going to be in a security blanket. They're not going to be targeted or hurt by the satellite. They're being already used by the satellite by making biracial children. They have accomplished exactly what the agency wants. Okay? The NSA, the CIA, secret agents. That's what they want. They want to degenerate the minority race. And this is what they're doing to all the minority women. And that's just not the women, but the men too. The men too. So I can say white women who can make children with a Hindi doctor who has a half-bred child is much better to the sphere of influence, okay, from that white society than it would be to a full-bred Indian child, because that child becomes half white, and that is what they're working on. They're trying to degenerate minorities. It's a degeneration program on the minorities right now. And who is it the most a threat right now? I would say African American women, because they fear African American nation more than any other nation in this country. They give them the most insecurities. Okay, they've always fought for their civil rights. They've always made sure no one crossed the lines when it comes to their civil rights. And they want to degenerate African American men and women. Okay? And you can see it out there in society. I'm not, I didn't just bring this all about. This has been out there. I know that you've noticed all the interracial marriage going on between minorities. So it's like, kick out your nephew or your third cousin or your brother, but you can stay and make this half-breed child with me. This is the mentality that the country's society has, okay? And the mind control program is just loving it. Shooting those microwaves on everyone's neurotransmitters, exacerbating everyone's diseases, building the platforms for them to have those diseases. They just love that. They love it. They're living in it. And everyone's letting them get away with it every day because they don't want to fight against those energies. They want to keep covering it up. I'm talking about minorities too, by the way. You guys can bring that up. There are a lot of you that are news reporters. There are a lot of you that are involved with politics. If you guys want to come up, if you want to be able to surpass, okay, this barrier in this country in these days and times, you're going to have to stick together and understand you are one class right now. You are forced to be one class, and you are minority, okay? Minority power is what you should preach. And you have to protect your men, women, and children. And each nation should be within a nation, all together, assembled, to fight that and reverse that, okay? It should only be natural cases of interracial marriages, not a rash of white men with, how can I say, minority women. Oh, it's not a natural thing, who are getting their dopamine to be rushed into their bloodstreams and fall in love with these beautiful exotic women and make children with them, and probably leave them in about 5 or 6 years after all their men have been deported or suppressed or tortured by the satellites. But these are the days and times we're living in. This is what's happening right now. Okay? Do you believe me or not? Look into society and see. Okay? Look at all the people that made all these reports about V2Ks, about the brain waves that can go through your transmitters and not be heard but sensed. You know how many people make complaints about all that? All that is real. Look on YouTube and see. There's a lot of people out there that are fabricating the mind control attack because they feel that the secret agents are going to take it easy on them. And most of them are usually whites, so they're sellouts to the mind control program. They're target individuals. They'll throw you off. They'll get all philosophical with you, start talking about Armageddon, or bringing in Bible references into their philosophy, or get political with you, or talk about aliens. Because you know why they do that? Because they're cowards. I am a real target individual. I'm a hammer on a nail. I'm on the nail. I'm gonna nail it for you. I'm telling you what's the real. Listen to my videos and get the real. Thank you very much.